Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar From Bookings to Belonging, Why Travel App Needs a Community Layer. My name is Bam, Product Marketing Manager at Social Plus, and I'm here with Italo, our Senior Solution Engineer today. Italo, would you like to say a quick hello to our audiences today?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you and happy to be part of this webinar. I think this is a very interesting topic. Well, more than happy to be part of it and try to get technical details.
Amazing. And to quickly go through in this session, we'll cover what are the current trends and shifts in traveler expectation, what personalizing travel means, how loyalty program can help build a travel community that lasts. And we'll wrap things up with diving into a live demo to show you what this looks like in action. And before we get into trends, let's start with a quick question. So drop your answer in the chat. And the question is, what type of traveler are you? Italo, how would you describe yourself as a traveler? Are you an adventure seeker, a staycationer, or something in between?
I would say from my side, I'm more a vacation seeker, a bit adventurous, but not too much. But I like to get to see a new place, environment, but having the opportunity to have a nice rest and a place where I can like enjoy and have a bit of relaxation. That's my type of traveler.
So more relaxation, but a bit of everything as well. And Stephen, you also agree, right? You're all of the above as well. And I love that because I myself, I feel like I'm a bit of everything, but recently I've been leaning more towards, uh, adventure, more adventurous, more hiking, more scenic stuff. Great. And with that, it's really interesting to see that travel styles are shifting. And if we take a step back, we can see how travel has evolved dramatically over the past few years, right? In 2023, that was all about revenge travel. After years of restrictions, people were eager to make up for lost time, booking big international trips, crossing off bucket list experiences, and saying yes to travel no matter what the cost is. And even in some regions, especially in Asia and long haul destination, we were still experiencing pent up demand in early 2024. But as we move through 2024, normalization sets in. Travelers became more deliberate, less impulse driven, more focused on value, and more interested in deeper experiences rather than just checking destination off a list. And now looking ahead to 2025, the big question is what's next, right? What will define the next era of travel? And one thing is very, very clear. Travel is still a priority. It's still here to stay. And across like the US, UK, China, and India, travel consistently remains the number one category people are willing to spend on, followed by dining and entertainment. And even after the peak of revenge travel, we continue to see the shift where spending on experiences is increasing while spending on material things is decreasing. And with that in mind, what can we, expect to see in 2025? And we're currently seeing two key traveler segments emerging. There is a new generation of luxury travelers who aren't traditional high net worth individuals anymore. In fact, like 35% of luxury travel spending comes from travelers with a net worth between 100K and $1 million. So these aspirational luxury travelers selectively splurge maybe on a business class flight or a 5-star meal, but they're more strategic about where they spend, Meanwhile, cost-conscious travelers are redefining budget travel. They're not willing to compromise on quality anymore, but instead are getting smarter about when and where to splurge, and also using tactics like loyalty programs, smart booking strategies, and off-season travel. And both of these groups share one common expectation, which is personalization. So they want tailored experiences that match their individual preferences and travel styles. With that, instead of multi-country hopping, more travelers are opting for longer stays in one place and fully immersing themselves in a culture rather than rushing from city to city. And even the average length of travel has increased to 13.5 days, which is pretty long. And so this really reflects a shift towards deeper and more meaningful experiences. And we're starting to see that there's also no size fit all when it comes to different region. APAC travelers, for example, tend to have more moderate spending plans, but while Europeans and Americans are adjusting their budgets to maintain a consistent travel habits maybe throughout the year. So this is where hyper personalization becomes key, where you meet travelers where they are and understanding their unique preferences. So with all that, this leads us to a major shift. We're entering the era of intentional travel. Travel is no longer just about going to places, it's about fostering connections, aligning that with your passion, and making each journey more meaningful. And for many travelers, sustainability and authenticity are top priorities. People want to experience that respect local cultures or minimizing environmental impact, and also like have that genuine and enriching interaction. So what does this all mean for travel apps and brands? And I want you to remember like these three key elements. First is connection. So travelers want to connect with people and places in more meaningful ways. Second is community, where you have to provide spaces where travelers can interact, share experiences, and engage with each other, and that can help foster long-term loyalty. And lastly, hyper personalization. So the demand for tailored experiences isn't going anywhere, and travelers want journeys that reflect their individual preferences and values. And despite all this, most travel apps still primarily rely or focus on transaction, but in a world where experiences matter more than ever, a community layer can enhance the travel experience by, tailoring experiences to travelers' preferences, enhancing engagement through interaction, or even building a sense of belonging in travel. So it'll like with that in mind, have you seen any like what kind of the use cases or components have you been seeing on the rise lately for travels and even airline industry?
I think that in general, what's happening growing a lot, and I think it's part of the connectivity, as you mentioned, as one of the key elements, is that for users to get a real experience, they usually appreciate the comments of other users that have a similar interest or something like that. So what we have seen is usually getting this type of place in which you get different users to exchange feedback or recommendations about certain interests, certain places, and based on that, have a real engagement about, hey, going to this place is something really cool. You should go here. We got this experience. These are real users, and from there, they have seen the opportunity to not only have a community for getting good feedback, good recommendations, but also having profiles which you in the end as a user can rely on and can follow so that you can get other interesting topics that are important for you as a traveler. And this is what we have seen in those cases, which goes more with the connectivity and this type of personalization.
And like for sure, like interaction within the travel community is already innate within their nature, right? Like people are ready to connect, share, and share tips and tricks on their travels. So that's definitely interesting. And with that, on that note, we can also think about leveraging AI to help with personalization and dig deeper into hyper segmentation, right? You can create precise traveler segments from broad categories like business versus leisure travelers to specific micro segments like digital nomads who prefer, let's say, eco-friendly boutique stays, or and you can also amp up personalization through sentiment analysis as well and understand travel intent more. So, Italo, any additional thoughts on this part, the AI part or hypersegmentation in general?
I, I think that this one is a pretty key element that now, especially with everything that have a rise in AI, it's becoming more and more important. And in our case, the idea of these spaces that we share and that users are able to have, they are able to interact and get different content, which AI eventually will use so that the one that's providing this type of, let's say, travel environment for discussion, for feedback, for engagement, and so on, will receive based on the topics that you define a specific detail from the AI, giving you the sentiment analysis of, hey, how the users regarding this topic are feeling. So you have the nowadays the ability to have real-time information about how the topics about, let's say, one particular place or a trip or a package has been working for different users, and based on that, you can change the strategy and even ask the AI, hey, based on the content that you have from the different communities, which are the key elements that we should focus more, we should change, or which are the best ones that the communities appreciate the most. So this is something really important that we are addressing. And with AI, with all this rich content based on these interactions, you will have like a big amount of information that will give you different feedback based on analysis of sentiment, key points, as well as different questions, so that you can leverage strategies to have a better, let's call it, travel application, or maybe a booking application that will give the user what they really need.
Hmm. And yeah, and I feel like with AI, it's more of like a companion for you. And with the overloading of information, it's time is crucial, and being able to understand the sentiment of your user within the travel app is, very essential as well. So yeah, and with that, additionally, we can also, think more about loyalty programs because you need to evolve beyond just points and discounts. And since travelers today, they expect more. They want engagement, exclusivity, and meaningful experiences that go beyond transactions. And modern loyalty programs today can really start to think about personalized rewards tailored to individual travel habits and preferences, or gamification and rewards for sustained engagement, like experimental perks. And even the game changer here is more about community driven loyalty programs. So by integrating a community layer, brands can turn loyalty programs into dynamic travel hubs where members interact, share insights, and feel part of something bigger. Yeah. And with that, like, should we move on to see all of this in action, Ilo? Like, so maybe it's time to, look into our live demo section and see these concepts, how these concepts can be implemented in a travel app.
Sure, let me share my screen so that we can get a better idea of this. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So as you can see, this is a UI key that we have as a vanilla template. And this one is based on this idea of travel places. And as you can see, you have a new feed where you get different interactions from different users. As you can see, it is based on different, I call communities based on places. with different images and so on. And based on this, users can interact and get different comments, posts, likes. And as you can see, the idea here is to have an easy flow about interactions between users and recommendations or details. This is pretty similar to a feed style, and you have the ability to see the different comments. But besides that, you have the ability to see the communities that you are part of, or let's call it, let's say, places or bookings or or packages. So in this case, I have two, Australia and Spain, and you can see the different members. Regardless of that, you also have the ability to explore and see the different, let's say, communities or spaces that are recommended for you, and also which are the most relevant ones, which in this case, as you can see, I have Australia and Spain, and they are based on, let's say, the number of members that the community or the space has. Then based on that, you can also find another ones which you can join directly, and this is everything customizable based on the, let's say, coding language that you have. And according to that, you're able to even define what are the details that you would like to see in that feed, and then even pin a post, which means that the users will be able to see this on top, as well as to see the content as images or videos based on that. So this is pretty flexible. At the same time, if we go to the user profile, you have the ability to follow that user. Let's imagine you eventually put a badge as an influencer or something like that. And once you follow the user, you will be able to see the user content in the timeline within your own global newsfeed, which would be a place where you can get all this, let's say, relevant information or content that you get from communities, or let's say this sort of topic or packages, and also from the users that you are really interested on following. Like in my case, I will decide to follow James Gonzalez, and based on that, I will be able to see the content that this user will decide to post eventually. So this is flexible, and as you can see, we already provide you a vanilla, let's say, UI, which you can customize, and according to your use case, make different changes of the color, on the size, even on the experience if you want. It can be more based on videos, having maybe a video feed, things like that, or even an image feed instead of having this type of content. This is the general viewpoint that we have, and we welcome you to experience it and play a bit with the different UI kits we have so that you can test them out and see which are the different things that you can use for this type of cases in traveling experiences as well as booking or even for enhancing user interaction. This is mostly what we can show in this sort of demo. I don't know if you would like to see something in particular.
So it seems like they're wondering, this is more of like a UI kit mockup, right? This is not a particular app.
Yes, that's correct. So this is part something that you can integrate directly into your application, and technically it's open source. So you can change it and leverage the components that you need as the feed that you can see here, or the comments, and use it in the space that you would require so in your application. From our side, our team is more than happy to help you guide and see which would be the best use cases that will complement your, let's say, business scenario. And based on that, we can guide you on, based also on the use case that you want, which things are feasible or not considering our technology. But the idea is to have this sort of experience and easy implementation into your application as soon as possible.
Right. And I'm seeing some of the questions actually on the from the crowd. Let's see. Ah, yeah. Which app? Okay. I see something typing, so let's give it a little bit more time. Yeah, feel free to add any question. Right. So do you have an app with similar features that we can download and experience?
Any question regarding this, or maybe something else that we can discuss based on this for the layout. Again, as I mentioned, this is something that it's open source and it can be managed depending on the use case.
Yeah, so Kevin, I recommend you reaching out to us so we can, help you walk through and try out our experiences to see what kind of feature is available. Yeah, yeah, I know like the background noise might be a little bit loud at the moment. We do apologize. We are quite remote friendly. But yeah, if is there any other place that anyone can try out our, SDK and API or UI kit, Illo?
Directly on our let's call it our documentation. We can share the links and details on the chat. Let me share directly. From there, you can get a direct detail on our documentation details and so on. So you can directly test it, see the different features that we have. I would say you are even able to get the details of the different features, and based on that, you are more than welcome to send us the questions that you have, and based on that, provide you like a potential use case that you can use and how we can approach it from your application side. This is something that we are more than happy to do. As I'm sharing right now in the chat for everybody, you're able to check on it, and from there you can see the documentation for our UI kits. It depends on how you want to approach. From that part, it's open source, and again, depending on that, you can also select the SDKs or APIs which are openly available, and you can try them out by contacting our team so that you can do a quick demo and see which are the things that will help you for your use cases. I already shared the detail of the link for the documentation there.
Ah, a live app.
I think that I think that for the live environment, in general, we do have a free trial, which in case you're already talking to Eduardo, I think this is your case, Kev, he can provide you a free trial where you will have a live environment so that you can test our UI kit directly. And if you want to implement it in your application so that you can see the different features, and probably you will reach to our team so that we can discuss with your engineers and see these cases so that you can test it.
Awesome. Any other question? I think when it comes to a live environment, you can also, refer to some of our client, and we would recommend you, downloading Harley Davidson to experience what the feature or what the experience could look like while using our features. So yeah, a link. Do we happen to have a link, Italo, for Harley Davidson?
We do not have a link. It's on the US App Store, but I think, Kefi, you're already on discussion with Eduardo. I think I can tell him to send you some video demos from the different applications we have for this type of cases. which you can see, which would be mostly videos. And based on that, maybe we can see to show you some access during 1 minute.
Awesome. Okay, I guess we've, come to our, you know, last part of our webinar, and we appreciate all of you guys attending today. I hope you would leave with some great insights into the travel industry and have a better understanding of, having that added community layer. And we encourage you to, you know, uh, reach out to our sales team or anyone, even Ilo, to get a better understanding of how our feature would work. Oh, seems like there might be one more question. You can actually access our recording as well. And yeah, let me check to find a way to share the deck. But currently you can go back to recordings as well, and the deck should be available. Let me check on that and send them to you. But otherwise, thank you so much, everyone. All have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
All right.